But there is one map that would just be amazing for it, and that's Everdream. Everdream is the dream for cannon rushes.
All right, guys, here we go with perhaps the most anticipated best of 3 of the day. In the bottom left side, look at the main base of perhaps the best player in the world at this point. I know I'm stretching, not everybody agrees, but I'm just a fan, and this kid has been on an absolute roll. It is Reynor.
And up here in the top right-hand side of the map, the young upstart, who's actually older by a decent bit. Actually, no, sorry, he's still sitting on the younger side. I remember it. Sorry, I'm mixing up players. Regardless, guys, up here in the top right, or is it the top left-hand side? I think it's blue, it's red. It's MaxPax. Wow.
That was a great intro, Robbie. I want more of those.
And he's representing Team Exxon, actually.
MaxPax going for the Nexus first. No. Okay, he is scouting. I was about to say no scout.
Oh my god.
Okay, so he's.
Okay.
What? What is this?
You know what you would not expect, Kev? Someone who goes for a Nexus first follows it up with a Forge first.
No, like I mean, it's actually something that I'm a bit familiar with, but I would only ever do this if I scout a pool before a hatchery. Oh my goodness! So Nexus first into Cannon Rush. Hello. Well, that is insane, and that is perhaps the one way I can see MaxPax win a game, but. This is just so crazy. This is just so crazy.
Important part is that you cancel the bottom 2 pylons. That's why actually the first pylon finishes up first. So you cancel that, you build a gateway, you build a pylon. He needs one more though to actually prevent this. So now it looks like, yeah, you can still hit the cannon, but you need 3 drones on the cannon to actually kill it. There's a lot of surface area on that gateway though, and that is gonna open up the pathway here.
Yep, that gate is gonna get cancelled, and that is 4 drones attacking that cannon. There is another cannon going down as well. I think this response is pretty good. Sure, Reynor is going to lose a couple drones, but I think you're okay with losing a couple of drones. Now the Zerglings are out as well, and I really don't think this is going that good for MaxPax.
Oh my god, I actually thought he had like the move, the play over there, but I guess it doesn't end up working out. I really thought he actually, with a cannon, he attacked one of the drones that were attacking the other cannons on the left-hand side. I thought, oh, if those cannons are fully walled in, if you kill those drones, both of those cannons will get up and potentially be able to defend, but oh, that sets you so far behind now. That was a big investment.
Yep. Some people might be like, well, he's still got a Nexus. He's even in workers. Is this that bad? The answer is yes, because Reynor now knows he has absolutely nothing to worry about for the next 2 minutes. There was no gas being mined yet. Now there finally is a bit of gas mining. There's no cyber core yet, because obviously you need a gateway to build a cyber core. So Reynor can basically drone super freely for the next 2.5 minutes, and that is not a good place to be in if you play Protoss against Zerg.
Is the very bottom of that forge actually covered by that cannon?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, cannons have pretty big reach.
Yeah. I've had so many horrific situations where my cannons are like barely out of range of the very bottom of one of my buildings after one of these, and I'm like, oh no, not like this. But I like the pylon block over on that 3rd hatchery location. Gonna at least delay Reynor a little bit. He's floating up to almost 400 minerals. Do you let that? Maybe even just let that finish. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel that Reynor should have definitely left one Zergling behind, because if he would have left one link behind, he would have already been able to get this hatchery down, and his economy would have been even better than it currently is. So MaxPax definitely making the best of a pretty crappy start, but I still think it's bad, because this target is just so late compared to what it normally is. I don't really know where you take this if you're MaxPax, man. I just don't know.
Roddy, to put this in perspective, by the time an Oracle pops out, I think there's going to be like 4 creep tumors in front of that 3rd base on either side. Like, this is going to be such an easily scouted Stargate play. And I mean, even the Overlord plus also the Lings have seen that Stargate. They're going to be able to potentially deny. Yep, that's going to be denial on that 3rd base, right?
Well, there is an Adept. No, the Adept doesn't want to go for it, so he's going to send it back as more Zerglings were coming this way anyway. I actually thought you were going to make it worse than the 4 creep tumor thing. I was like, by the time the Oracle comes out, there will be Broodlords. And I'm like, whoa, that'd be insane. And it's pretty close.
As Day 9 once said, it takes 2 minutes and 30 seconds between the hive starting and brood lords to come out. So I think we got some time before that.
That's pretty close. Two Adepts are gonna have trouble here, man. Like, they're gonna need the Oracle as well to help out. Reynor wants to get this probe. Oh man, this is such a painful game for MaxPax. He's still up for workers, and that's kind of cool, but obviously this is not going to last. And it's just so hard to establish this third Nexus. And even if he does get it with the Oracle here, that's fine, but that obviously means the Oracle is not being busy on the other side of the map. This is going to be one of my latter games, Robbie, where 95% of the map's covered in creep. And they're like, Roddy, why are you not cleaning up creep? I'm like, well, I've got Phoenixes and carriers, mate. I don't care about creep.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, there's going to be that layer finally starting on up, as Reynor did delay that for a tiny bit when he got out all those extra lings. Delayed having to get up that third base for a bit, but Oracles are darted around. It's not exactly like they want to expend their energy revelationing and burning down the creep tumors. So that creep is just going to go completely uncontested for a good long while. And God, that's the other thing, is like, you know exactly where the Oracles are moving. It's so easy to have your queens in position every time.
Yep. The Oracles are basically the ones that are being revealed at this point.
Yeah.
Reynor has casted Revelation on the Oracles, guys. Like, don't ask me how it happened, but it's a thing. These Zealots don't have +1, so they really don't deal that well against the Zerglings. The Oracles need to come back home to deal with just a couple of Zerglings, not before all the Gateway units have been picked off. I struggle a little bit what to talk about in games like this. MaxPax is gonna try his luck with 2 Adepts on the left side. The problem is this attack too has been super telegraphed because of the creep that's everywhere. And maybe he gets a drone. He does get a drone. Can we get 2 drones? No, the trenches. Oh my goodness, Reynor is so disrespectful.
This is brutal, man. I mean, you kind of predicted it, Roddy. Like, disrespectful is a good word for it. Because Reynor really enjoys just shutting down some of these young upstarts that think that they can be him. I think they can be one of those young, fresh blood players that really spikes up in the scene.
Yep. What people don't know about, like, you know, I DM him at Reynor every now and then. We have a couple chats, but he also refers to these guys as the kids as well. And I'm like, mate, you're 17. And he's like, no, this one kid is being disrespectful to my off race, because he was playing a lot of Protoss on the barcode. And I'm like, why are you barcoding, man? Stop that. He's like, I know, Roddy, but there's this kid and he's been disrespecting my off race. He just 12 pulls me and I need to put him in his place. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, Reynor referring to the kids as the kids. I was like, you're like 9 months older than them. He's like, I know.
Reynor is the kind of player or the kind of person who strikes me as he would refer to someone who's like 20 years old as the kid. He's still 17. I don't know.
He's often referring to Clem as his little brother as well, even though Clem is older than Reynor.
Yeah, Reynor is actually the youngest of the crew, right? Like of all the 16-year-olds that came up at one time.
Mm-hmm. That is correct. Well, MaxPax is really trying his absolute best to turn this into a game. He's going up to 4 bases. The problem is there is creep knocking on his front door. He spots that army. That's actually kind of a small army, but that Hydra count is growing right now. Roaches are being produced as well. +2 missile attacks is quite close to finishing up. Is he going to have +2 missile attacks before +1? No, he won't have that, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty brutal. Well, Hydra's microing back, and this is way too much Zerg. MaxPax has to back up. Archons are going to try and take the best trades they can, and I guess they'll keep most of these Zealots alive. Use the charge, but that is not exactly give the extra damage there that he's looking for. And, well, I think this is going to be the final little hurrah over here. And he'll trade out better than I thought he would. But yeah, he needed to win.
No, I agree with you. MaxPax definitely getting some decent trades there. He's got an overcharged battery now as well, as Reynor is sending a couple of queens to the other side of the map. +2 is close to finishing up, and so is Hydra range. MaxPax is definitely making the best of an just impossible game. This game was just unwinnable ever since the cannons failed, but I do like the fighting spirit, and he did a good job in sizing up that army and realizing when he could fight and when he should disengage. So MaxPax is showing us some great game understanding, but he's just a bit too far behind.
Yeah, now he's going to start bleeding off these individual Zealots as the Roach count is a little too high. The Hydra count is a little bit too high. Now the Queen's being added in as sort of somewhat more durable units, but they're going to be able to be that consistent damage against the Oracles and everything that get picked off. shield batters added energy, and I feel like that is going to be the nail in the coffin in a lot of ways, with Archon starting to go down and everything. So a well-played attempt there from MaxPax. Would have loved to have seen the counter rush on a different map, not this one, but he tried, and it almost could have worked, maybe.
It was pretty close. It always comes down 2 seconds, but Reynor just had an absolute perfect response to the cannons, and Reynor doesn't need to be ahead to win games, but if Reynor is ahead, well, then, you know, in the early days, he had a couple of epic trolls on very big moments in his career. Of course, we always remember the game against Serral. Don't forget about his little GSL adventure when he was 16, where he was in a super good spot in Game 2 against Maru. He was up 1-0 in a pretty epic throw back then, but Reynor has come such a long way, and he's so much more mature in his gameplay these days. If he gets to start like that, it's just game over.
Yeah, it's always going to be very tough there, but you know, I think we kind of mentioned it before, Roddy. It's one of those situations where game kind of gets 90% decided in that first sort of the flop there from MaxPax. And game number 2, I got a lot more hope if he wants to try something like that again. Because we're going to Everdream, Roddy. This is the map where that 3-pylon wall actually is meant to work out. Because here's going to be the big difference, all right? An Eternal Empire, you do the 3-pylon wall, you cancel 2 pylons, you build your cannon, your gateway, and a pylon on the low ground. On Eternal Empire, you have to build a pylon, a gateway to wall off the cannon, and you have to build another pylon after that. And it's still a little bit open. On Everdream, 1 pylon is all you need on that low ground. And it's like 1 pylon, the gateway, totally walled off, and you're in range of your opponent's gas geyser if it does carry on further forward. It's just an all-around better setup.
Yep, and then less surface area on those buildings as well.
Yeah.
I think you can even do it with 2 pylons, right, on the low ground. It doesn't even need to be pylon gates. Or...
you usually still want to do the gateway, just because it'll have more hit points, and it will, I think it's just generally safer, and you can just get your transition set up better.
Yeah, you can let it finish up, right? And then you can actually build a cybernetics core at home. Which obviously in the previous game, if that gateway would have finished up, sure, if the cannon rush doesn't work out, it's bad, but then at least MaxPax can just build a cyber core at home. And then all of a sudden,
30 seconds earlier.
Yeah, and then it's not all of that bad. In this case, it was just a disaster. But I'm still happy to see him try something wild. Because, yeah, you can sit at home and build Void Rays like you can do against a lot of the other Zergs in Europe. And you can do very well with those units. Against Reynor, I don't know if those builds will really get it done. So I love the try in game 1. It didn't happen, or it didn't work out. And Max was like, well, I'm not going to tap out immediately. I'm still going to try to turn it into a game. But I think he knew deep down inside as well that that's pretty much impossible. Let's see what he has in store for us here in game 2. As we have loaded into Everdream, the top right side, we look at the main base. The Italian Stallion, of course, representing Clash. Ooh. It is Reynor.
And down on the bottom left-hand side of the map, the red Protoss player from Team Exxon. He is MaxPax. So here's the thing, Roddy, is that I feel like Everdream is notorious, especially most Zerg players know the feeling of having their second gas geyser denied by the cannons and everything. So I feel like he kind of revealed his hand, right? He can't really go for another cannon rush over here because Reynor's just going to see it coming. He's already actually going for a pool before hatchery. Like that would be, it just would have been the ultimate shutdown.
And
although that spawning pool would have been in range of the cannon though. That's the funny thing.
A super quick gas though. That is such an early gas. If I'm MaxPax and I scout this, I'd be like, oh my goodness, like what's happening? I'd be worried about a proxy hatchery or something. And I do believe that Reynor does have a drone on the bottom side of the map. So he is going to indeed proxy. Is he going to make it part of the wall off? I feel, no, it's just going to hatch block. I feel like you can do it in the wall off. Oh, he's going to build it in the main Reynor. Well,
MaxPax is onto it. He's going to get a Zealot out, and I think with it being chronoed out so early on, there aren't exactly a ton of lings already on the map. There's 6 now started up. It's going to take a little while for them to get there. I actually feel like MaxPax has the tools he needs to deal with this.
Yep, and I also feel that MaxPax in general is very good in weird games, but then again, Reynor is somebody who can make very simple builds somehow look a little stronger than they actually are. So he's just going to link flood the front, I guess. But so far, I think the response from MaxPax is absolutely perfect. He is going to get the cancel on that first hatch. Reynor's probably going to do it one more time. At least he's going to try, but there are so many probes chasing that hatchery. Can he get it? Nope, he cannot. Is he going to build a hatchery on the low ground? Is that what's going to happen?
No, he's not going to get that either. The probes are just so hard stuck on that drone for a while.
He should have chased it. He should have chased it, because now there is a hatchery going to go down. But I mean, we already have our first adept out, and there is a Python block on the other side of the map as well. But I still think a really good start for MaxPax.
Yeah, I thought that Reynor was actually taking a second gas geyser and was just gonna hard commit, throw down like a baneling nest or throw up a roach warren. But it looks like it was just like a extractor trick to try and get out a little bit extra supply. Cybercore. I mean, this is straight a throwback to like In Control. The Cybercore has a lot more hit points actually than the Gateway as well. So it takes a lot more to actually take that out.
A little bit, like a 100 hit points more, right? 50 shields, or is it just 50 hit points?
I think, yeah, it's just 100 hit points. But you know, when there's only like 2 lings working away at it.
No, absolutely. And obviously it gains HP incredibly quick, so you can still cancel it at the very last moment. Is he going to cancel the Cybercore?
I don't think you even cancel it, right? There's only 4 lings there.
Well, Reynor does still have a lot of Zerglings out on the map, and he's going to try to get lucky.
Why?
He won't get it now, but it's okay. I mean, then again, I won't say it's okay, but Reynor is going to get a couple of probe kills here, and that is very annoying.
Oh, man, yeah. Bit of lost mining time, but hasn't lost any probes just yet. The Adept gonna start getting some damage done over here. You know, honestly, yeah, this actually is not as bad as I thought it was.
The problem is, when does MaxPax expand? And where?
Oh my god, Reynor's making a drone out of that hatchery. Is he gonna...
I think that's a mistake. Unless he builds another hatchery. No, what?
He's building a spine. I mean, I guess it forces a reaction, but that is very unlikely to go up. Like, I was thinking maybe he tries to steal the second gas geyser or something in the main base if it hadn't been taken already, but it's definitely there. Stargate's finished up, and MaxPax has just not really had the time or the macro to go back and actually make anything out of it. Finally, Oracle starts up.
I mean, but that's just the thing when you play against somebody who's as good as Reynor, or even somebody who's as good as Blind, these kinds of things. They keep you so busy with these lings. The lings are faster than the Protoss units, and you may not lose a lot, but you're always going to slip up in your macro. I've been here time and time again, you know, when I face Kaiji or Bly, it's just like, I should know what to do, and I know what to do, but for some reason I don't do it because they're so annoying with the links. You don't want to lose too many probes, so you're so focused on the links, and then all of a sudden you forget to do the things that are most important, and that is like, maybe get your expand going, or build Stargate units. I don't know, man. This feels pretty bad for MaxPax all of a sudden.
Yeah, don't let the supplies deceive you too much. Unless this Oracle can start getting like 4 or 5 drone kills, in which case, you know, I'll start feeling things a lot better for MaxPax, but the Queen's all well situated. The Spore Call's finish up, it seems unlikely.
Look at the Overlord of Reynor, by the way, in the natural. It's just like, what up, Adepts? You guys breaking out? Are you guys leaving? It's like, oh no. I mean, if these Adepts had Resonating Glaives, I'd actually be like, whoa, this can really do something. But without Resonating Glaives, Zerglings are actually pretty good against them.
Yeah, I mean, it's only going to be about 20 by the time the Adepts hit. So maybe there's a little opportunity with some good shades if you keep the... I mean, remember, the Lings also have to split up between 2 bases. But the shade comes out after the surround already happens. Although this trade, I mean, the Adepts are actually going to finish their shade with half their shield. Oh, no. I don't know about this.
Natural. We have 2 Oracles that are gearing up as well in the main base. So MaxPax definitely making the best of a very dire situation, but his Nexus is still only halfway done. He's like, I'm gonna kill the Spore Crawler. The Oracles have shown up in the main base. They get a couple of drone kills. Honestly, not bad. Reynor is dropping a couple of transfusions on that Spore, but that Spore, no! So close.
Oh my god, the transfuse healing, I think it threw him off. The after heal. Oh,
okay.
That sucks.
The good news, though, is that he did manage to keep almost all of his Adepts alive, and now he is following this up with Resonating Glaives, and this is something that Reynor has not scouted yet. Yeah, no, he didn't see the Twilight Council, so obviously it's still pretty bad. MaxPax is down 10 workers, but Reynor is not teching up. I mean, there's maybe potential. I don't know.
Okay, well, Reynor is about to know it's coming now. was like, wait a second, that's a few more adepts than you had before. There's only one reason why you'd be making more adepts right now, so.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a spine crawl on the side of Reynor. I mean, obviously, if we want an upset, we'd say like no spine, but that's going to be so many adepts. And I've said it, I think MaxPax is very good in weird games because he's kind of a weird player himself. He built gateways everywhere where you shouldn't build gates, but it seems like Reynor is going to try to deal with this with a couple of roaches. But I feel like he needs more than like 5 roaches, though. That's so many adepts.
Yeah, he's actually making more lings and drones behind that as well. So it's not like, oh, he's made 5 roaches and he's planning to make more. He felt like this was going to be enough. And I'm with you, Kev. Unless MaxPax really messes up the positioning, I really do feel like he's adept to be able to get some good damage done.
Yep, well, that's, I think, not a bad fight at first for a couple of roaches, as long as Reynor can reduce the count a little bit, but all of the lings have disappeared already. Obviously, Reynor does have a 12 worker advantage, so losing a few drones ain't that bad, but I think he's gonna lose a few more. We still have the oracles around as well. The spore crawler in the third is out of position. Oh no, MaxPax, the third is where you want to be with those oracles. Oh my goodness, what a missed opportunity.
Oh man, the adepts are gonna shade over toward the natural, but they shade straight into a link surround. The oracles and the adepts have only managed to kill 7 workers. That puts Reynor ahead 7 or 8 workers. And I'm with you, man, the third base would have been such a beautiful target. There were 2 spore crawlers in the natural and nothing at the third.
I know.
There's one further forward.
Yeah, that was some serious potential there. Reynor is actually repositioning that spore crawler right now. He's like, whoop, dodged the bullet there. Yeah, absolutely, you did. MaxPax is going to follow this up with a Void Ray. We still have a game on our hands because, of course, the lair was a little bit late. And MaxPax is going up to 3 bases. Obviously, the timings of this game are just super rough. I mean, you normally tune in and you're like, what? Why is MaxPax going up to 3 bases 9 minutes into the game? It's like, well, stuff happened, okay?
Well, DT's in a dream is going to be the follow-up here for MaxPax. We'll see how effective they're going to be, you know, in the 2 minutes it'll take for that Dark Shrine to finish up. But until then, the oracles will at least be able to keep an eye out on Reynor, see when the lair timing and the fact that it's going to be pretty late on, although it's actually not even in the main base. Maybe it's the third base actually who's getting the lair up. Yeah, that's where he ends up throwing it down, as well as his Hydra Den at the third. Not usually seeing the tech coming down behind the third base.
Reynor loves lurkers as well. Every now and then he really feels like building lurkers, and he just loves getting a whole bunch of them. So,
but how do lurkers fare versus Void Rays, Kevin? Just kidding.
Pretty good, actually. Everything does pretty good against Void Rays. We still got queens out, you know, so I actually think there's a good chance that Reynor is just going to keep building queens and then march a couple queens to the other side of the map as well. I gotta say, MaxPax has been doing a good job with his oracles, still finding drone kills here and there. Like, honestly, pretty impressive oracle control.
Yeah, it's been able to keep them alive this whole time. Ling's gonna look for an opportunity to swing by that third base, but MaxPax is prepared, has all those units in position, ready to defend. The oracles just swing over those Lings. Not gonna end up wasting the energy on it, but you called it, Roddy. There's that lurker den being thrown down with so many Hydras being produced. Makes sense.
Yeah, Reynor just loves lurkers. I don't like, if you would ask him, like, you like lurkers against Protoss? He'd be like, no, they're terrible. It's like, why did you build them? It's like, just felt like it.
That sounds like every single pro player I know. What? Are your units good? No, they're terrible. It's like, why do you make them? It was like, what else do I have?
Well, Reynor will be more like, nah, all the circlings could catch an immortal, and that is unfortunate for MaxiPaxi. Can he save it with the oracles? Nope, it's gonna be way too late. So oracle does go down as well. Excuse me, the immortal. He's gonna make a little move out, but even the spore crawler feels very scary here, if you ask me.
Yeah, he doesn't even have a charge just yet. It's gonna be finishing up soon, but it'll take an extra few seconds, which allows Reynor to get even more in position to defend that base. So, the double Archon drop coming in very, very late on. I mean, in theory, could get something done, but remember, there's actually still some Hydras out. Although I guess most of the Hydras are turning into lurkers right now, so maybe there's not.
Reynor's got so much map vision, of course. He's going to see that prism. He's actually going to expand right under the prism, and the Archons are not going to do anything about it. I feel like MaxPax is waiting with his warp in because he wants to hit multiple fronts at once, and this is something that could go very well if Reynor is at like 155 supply. You know, then it's really hard to split up your units. How many units do you really want to have to deal with the main army, and how many units do you keep in your main to make sure the prism damage doesn't spiral out of control? At this point, Reynor pretty much already has everything that he wants.
Yeah, I'm also just gonna say, Kev, you know, when your army is like 80% zealots and your opponent's army is like 40% lurkers, usually doesn't go too well for the zealots.
Nope, MaxPax looked at it. He's like, well, you know what?
no.
Those first lurkers are a little bit exposed, but there's still a choke point here. MaxPax, please disengage. He's like, no, I want one more lurker, and he does get one more lurker. But obviously, Reynor's got a roach army on the left side of this as well. Reynor is maxed out. MaxPax is only at 134 supply. We do have a disruptor on the way. I like to see that, but no, what? The prism lives.
Okay, well done. Looks like Reynor's gonna knock down the rock, so he's also not getting choked up behind the force fields or anything, but and Prism gonna survive for a little bit. The Roach is actually all sitting on the north side, so the Hydras are kind of off on their own. This does give MaxPax the definite advantage in the fight, but it's only for so long. Zell's gonna try and buy some time over by that third base, but MaxPax now has to defend 2 locations at once, and frankly, he just doesn't have the units for it.
Nope, fires forward and Nova. That does connect with one of the lurkers and does some damage on one of the queens as well. The Void Ray is pushing out quite some damage on the roaches, but this is just not a fair fight. Reynor just has way too many units. He is walking forward, and it seems like Reynor will be able to get his second 2-0 of the season. During this attack, he's making 11 drones and a hive and 11 more hydras. It's like, why, Reynor? Why do you need those 11 drones? What are you trying to do?
Well, you see, Kev, is that if you want to make GL or GG in hatcheries, you actually need quite a few drones out on the map. But there's gonna be, you know, I feel like at this point you're kind of just, MaxPax is just looking for like the disruptor shot that just justifies his existence in this game, and then he'll tap out. That's what I'm expecting.
I mean, the thing is, every now and then you have a leta game against a Zerg that's just a little too stubborn and stays on this army forever and then keeps headbutting their way into your disruptors, even if you only have 3 bases. So I get it, but I think MaxPax also knows that Reynor is not the average Zerg of the ladder. Reynor will always be transitioning. Reynor doesn't throw away leads like this. There are Hydras everywhere. Reynor doing a really good job in avoiding the Purification Novas as well. MaxPax is going to try to go up to 4 bases one more time, but that is officially going to be it